Hi, my name is Austin Marusco, CEO of Retrace. This is the CTO and my co-founder, Kenan Pulak. On an average day, there are 17 million meetings in America. 63% of the time, meetings do not have prepared agendas. It's estimated they waste $37 billion a year. Meetings are a waste of time. We're here to empower the entire workforce, from sales to HR to engineering to marketing to management and everything in between, by making meetings and the people in them more productive. Let's take Dave, for example. Dave finds it hard to remember what happened in all of his meetings. He finds it even harder to remember all the people he's met with, all the content that was shared, and all the follow-up tasks from his meetings. And sometimes he's unprepared or doesn't get all his stuff done simply because he wasn't organized. Just like all of you, Dave's meeting details and content are scattered everywhere. In a typical meeting, his calendar tells him when the meeting was and who was in it. Whiteboard photos are stored in a photo library. A meeting summary is written in a notebook, and his inbox is filled with follow-up tasks. Searching through this mess to find something takes forever, if it's even recorded at all. We have the solution to all of this. Retrace is the best way to remember and organize everything about the meetings you've had, ultimately helping you become a more productive person. It's a mobile app that puts your notes, photos, follow-up tasks, and contact information in the context of a meeting. Now, you go to one place to remember everything. Kenan is going to show you how this works.
Thanks, Austin. Here are the 3 phases of Retrace. Trace the outline of your meeting, retrace your steps and take action, and finally, succeed and be more efficient. This is Retrace. It's designed to make it extremely easy for you to collect all the information about your meetings. Let's start with step 1, trace the outline of your meeting. These meetings are synced with Google Calendar. If you don't have a meeting on your calendar, simply press Create Meeting. Retrace automatically records the GPS location of the meeting, and you can also enter in a name for the meeting. To add other people to your meeting, just enter in an email. Adding people to your meetings allows you to see all sorts of contact information from Facebook, LinkedIn, and your contacts. If you're meeting somebody for the first time, knowing whether they went to your alma mater or not could make all the difference. Plus, when you add people to your meetings, you can choose to collaboratively record everything that happened. For example, let's say you have a new design idea. You can snap a photo of your notepad or whiteboard, quickly add a caption, and share it with the other people in the meeting. Or you can keep it private. Lisa has written out some follow-up tasks and a meeting summary. She shared all of this with the meeting. Now the meeting has been collaboratively documented for everyone. Also, if you don't like writing things down during a meeting, you can set up Retrace to send you a notification immediately after a meeting, reminding you to record it while it's still fresh in your memory. The next step to achieve success is to later retrace your steps from previous meetings and take action. It's 5 minutes before the follow-up meeting. If you don't come to this office often, you can use the map to see the last meeting you had there. Since Lisa posted the follow-up tasks, you were able to remember what happened and complete everything you needed to do. Now you can just review the meeting summary to be better prepared for the upcoming meeting. Finally, step 3. Because you've used Retrace, everyone is better prepared and on the same page at the follow-up meeting. You're getting more done at work, and the redesign is ahead of schedule. Success. We want Retrace to become the center of your workflow. Now Austin has a few other things he'd like to share with you.
Thanks, Kenan. Our go-to-market strategy is similar to that of Dropbox and Yammer. We want to bring value to the individual and drive adoption from the bottom up. Once a company or team has a certain amount of people using Retrace, we can work with them to offer a premium service, which will integrate with existing cloud storage platforms, CRMs, and task management systems. This will allow companies and teams to collaborate and share data about their meetings and contacts while still delivering tremendous amounts of value and control to the end user. Retrace is disruptive because it's the best way to remember and organize the story of your meetings. Trace, retrace, succeed. Sign up for limited beta today at retraceapp.com. Thank you.
So I think it's really interesting that you use the example of the guy that like is super unorganized and he doesn't take any notes or do anything. So if he's super unorganized, why is he going to use this? Like you're requesting a pretty major behavior change on somebody that's already disorganized. And like I just don't see them, like if they're going to do anything, they're going to just pick up a notebook and like scribble some notes. So I'm like wondering why they're going to go through all these steps.
Or turn on your Google glasses and record everything, right? Like a one-touch kind of thing.
Right. So we believe that a lot of these enterprise tools out there are just awful to use. And they require you to go to a lot of steps just to do really what should be simple things. So we have spent a ton of time making sure that every interaction we do is as seamless as possible. For instance, we already pull in your meetings from Google Calendar, so you don't have to create meetings yourself. It's already there. And then when you get to the meeting, we remind you. So you see that it's there, so you open up the app. And then the next step, if anything happens in the meeting, you can just take a note or a photo. We make all these things really easy so that you don't have to be a professional or someone that read a manual to kind of get this. It's dead simple, and that's the kind of experience we wanted to create.
But simple doesn't necessarily mean behavior change. You could make it really easy, and it doesn't mean that I'm going to do that. Like the thing that I like about what you guys are doing is the sort of collaboration part. I go to meetings, I do not take notes. I have a pretty good memory. I can usually remember what's going on. But I have a colleague that always writes down everything. So if I can see what he's doing, that part's interesting to me. But like regardless of how easy you make it, you're not going to make me do something different, because that's just me. So I'm wondering what percentage, I don't know, I'm wondering what percentage of your users are going to be like me that are just not going to use it.
What I think that comes down to, I think you have a unique opportunity here because of mobile, actually. Like it's going in every meeting, and the fact that you're integrating the Google Calendar. Like you are making it as easy as possible, but I don't think you're going to get her to change her behavior or me. I think what the question is have you guys done the customer development to really find out who is that type of customer that would absolutely use this? Is it that sales guy? Is it if somebody in HR that has to document everything? Like you guys, I think you probably need to spend some time finding those verticals where the people are already doing this really poorly and would love a solution like this.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think you have to dive into a vertical use case because I'm not sure the concept of meetings actually exists. I think it's one of those things you can talk about from the outside, and you can bundle up, but when you're actually in a meeting, you're not thinking of it as like, this is a category of thing called a meeting, and therefore I must do a set of things around it that you do in all meetings. I think you think of it more discreetly, like, oh, I need to generate a bunch of tasks, or I need to take a photo of the whiteboard, or I need to take some notes, and I think all of those have discrete use cases. So this may end up being one of those concepts that exist in Forrester and Gartner, and kind of our mind would look at a calendar, but the user doesn't necessarily think of like, I need an app for a meeting. And the reason I make that stupid statement, because I know it's not like an obvious thing, is because I can't think of a single other thing in IT or otherwise that is associated purely with meetings, right? Everything has a separate. Can you say that
last part again? Sorry.
I can't think of a single thing, whether it's a device or an app, that is associated purely with the concept of the word meeting. Like it doesn't exist. Like your Polycom you use to make a phone call, your conference table is because you sit around the table. But there is no, I can't think of a single app or device that exists around the concept of the word meeting. So that concept may not exist as a discrete thing in users' minds. And you may rather have to go into a more of a vertical, like a sales pitch, right? There is such a thing as a sales pitch, and sales guys know what that sales pitch is, and sales gals, and they go do sales. So I do think you have some real customer development to do.
That's interesting. No, after just talking with early people that have actually used our alpha program, we've seen that VCs or just salespeople in general, or really anyone that just has a ton of meetings, they see this as a really intuitive way to use it. And I agree, we do need to find some more verticals, but we already do have specific interests from like VCs and salespeople and like writers, like for instance like TechCrunch writers or something like that. So.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know, give me the ability to press record and then transcribe all those words into notes and then let me search and add tasks and stuff.
Right.
That would be kind of interesting, but.
I was hoping you were going more in the passive direction, make me do less work. Only work you should have me do is invite people for your own virality and distribute things. So it would be great if you can offload more of that into the cloud.
What they're kind of replacing if you do that are those pens people used to carry around to meetings that would record the meeting. Like, the iPhone's replacing all hardware. It's replacing those pens now too. You guys can be that pen. I don't know how successful that business was though. I don't even know the name of it.
It doesn't even have to be, specifically like that formal, right? We really want to be the centerpiece of everybody's workflow when you're just working with others. So it doesn't have to be like, oh, this is a very formal meeting. It could be you're just going down to the coffee shop and you get a reminder from, Google that, oh, you're having a meeting right now, and then they say something really important. Now, our app is the best way to capture and help share what goes on to remember it later and be more productive.
Can you talk a little bit more about the sharing and how you maybe, if you don't want to share everything or you want to share parts of it, or do you have the capability to do that? And that obviously would make it even, would make it less simple, but.
Yeah, so we enable any piece of content that they would like to share, completely up to the user. Like the user owns all their data, so they can choose to share individual pieces of content with other people in the meeting. And we're also planning on building out team tools so that, if I share something, I can share only with Austin and not the other people that we're meeting with. So we can have sort of like a hierarchy of the content that's shared to be completely customizable based on the user.
Yeah, plus we also hear that just in general, in terms of sharing, we hear people that say they want things like Evernote, Dropbox, and Drive incorporated because they're using that stuff for their meetings right now. And that's what we see as a big market potential, kind of disrupting those guys as providing a much better alternative to what they're doing currently.
Can you talk about search then?
We're actually out of time, unfortunately.
We have it.
They have search. Cool. Thank you guys. That's Retrace. Thank you guys very much.